Hello, I wanted to make a video to help people understand how to use Textivate. I've gotten lots of emails about how to use it. It's a little bit tricky and it's not always intuitive. So I'm just going to go through how you log in, how to create material and upload it, how to get it to your students, how to track their progress, all of those things. So feel free to watch it, ask me questions via email if you still have some after we're finished, and we'll go from there. So basically the first thing you should do is go to textivate.com, where I am here. You're going to click login up here in the top corner. And then in the username file, you're going to put the username that I sent you via email. I'm going to put, there's my username and my password. Now, when your students, eventually when you create classes and things in Textivate, when your students come to log in, they're going to use this same screen. The first mistake they make is they just put the password you give them in the password file, where they should put it into student password. That's how they're going to log in. So just be aware of that when we get to that phase. You submit login data. Okay, now I'm logged in. So the first thing you want to do is just create an activity. So I'm just going to go to this Word document. I have a text here that I selected. It's just a summary of From Buena Noche, one of the novels we read in Spanish 2 last year. I'm going to select the text. It's a little bit long, I think, for a Textivate activity, but this one I had handy, so that's what we're going to use. And then I'm just going to do Control V to paste it into the box. So here's my text that I want my students to work with. Okay. And so first, I just want to show you what the activities look like. So I've put my text here. You just click here on Textivate, and it takes you to all the activities that you could create. This is what students will see as soon as they click on the link or log in to the activity. So for example, tiles. There's all these different configurations of tiles you could have. Let's do this one, 4x6. So as you can see, it takes my text and divides it into all these different little tiles, and students have to figure out, read them, and put them in the correct order. That's one example. Back. Another example would be something like, for example, gap fill. And I can assign which words I want them to find, or the computer can generate them for me automatically. There are also things like this, like multiple word choice, where they have to decide which comes first, which one would start the sentence. And then it gives them 4 more choices, and they just keep adding them and reconstructing the paragraph that they saw before. All kinds of activities. So all of these different drop-down menus have all kinds of activities the students could use. In the first year I used this program, all I would do was give them all the options and say, okay, we're going to do Textivate for the next 20 minutes. And Jay could pick whatever activity they wanted to. As long as they were working on it, I was fine with that. So let me show you how you can get your activity to students if that's all you want them to do. So I'm just going to click right here. It says back to the Textivate homepage. And so in order to share a Textivate activity with your students, you have to upload it first. So if you see these icons here along the bottom, they all have a different function. So this one is to just clear the text box. This is where we're going to upload in just a minute. This is explains about how it stores things in your cache for you. This is where you search for online resources, search for resources that other people have made with Textivate. This is also going to be where you're going to find the resources you've created. This is where you're going to add your students and classes. We'll talk about that in a minute. You'll see their progress here. And then this one, I'm actually not sure. Challenge menu. I'm not sure what that one's for. I haven't used that icon. Okay, so for now, we just want to upload the activity we've created. I just copied my text into this box, and I'm going to click on this arrow. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Robo 1 to 4 because it's a summary of those chapters. The next thing you want to do is make sure you've checked shareable right here. Check shareable and then upload the resource. Okay, great. So now we're shareable. I know now that I can share it because I see this little icon right here that says share. Okay, so you have two choices. If you could share it to students from here, you could just click on the share icon. But actually, this is not the icon you're going to want to use because that would take them to this page. So let's go to here. Go to Textivate. Now we're going to click this one. This is the one that we want. You could just copy and paste it, and then paste it into Google Classroom. You could write it on the board, and students will see this screen when they come up to share. This is what will come up when they click on the link or type it in or whatever. They'll come to this and they could just use this to practice. Okay, that's the basics. So just for a reminder, you're going to come here, you're going to paste your text, you're going to go here, upload your resource, name it, make sure it's labeled as shareable, click on Textivate, and then click on the share icon. Click on Textivate, and then click on the share icon, and then share this link with your students. Okay, that's the first thing. If that's all you want to do, you can stop watching this video right here. If you want to be able to assign specific activities to students, I'm going to talk about how to do that as well. Okay, so we're going to go back. We're going to keep the same activity that we have here. So one of the things you might want to do is add your students to Textivate so that they have accounts to log in so you can track their progress. So the way you do that is you go here, Manage Students, Classes, and then you'll see I created a class, but you could just create a new class. Name it. I'm going to name mine 8th hour. And then all you do is type in a list of your students' names. One easy way to do this is to pull up from Synergy is to just pull up your class list, and then you can copy and paste it into here. So I'm going to just call these students Bob Smith, Jane Joe, and Frank Jones. I'm going to make just one little class for an example. And then you click Save. And then here are your students. Now your students have these individual passwords. These are going to be their passwords. Okay. So now when your students log in, when your students go to log in, you want to give them these passwords, right? But their username is going to be the same as yours. That's going to be your teacher name. So let's say I want to log in as Bob Smith. So I'm going to take his password right here, right? I'm going to log out from my teacher account. Okay, now I'm going to log in. Now I'm going to take my Textivate password, the one I sent you in an email. Wait, actually first, so I don't lose Bob's password, I'm going to go ahead and put his in the password file, right? And then I'm going to use my teacher password, my teacher username, this one, the one that I sent you in the email. And I'm going to put it here. Now I'm logged in as that student. So they're going to use the same username that you have. It's just that that links them to your class. It's just that each student has an individual password that puts them in the correct section and all of those things. So the username is the same as your username. Their password is what's different, and they put it in the student password section. That's how students log in. So I'm going to log this student out. I'm going to take my Textivate password. And I'm going to log back in as a teacher so I can show you how to do some other things. So this is my password. That's my username. And then this is going to be my password. Copy. I can get to the right. Okay, so I'm going to log back in. All right, now I can see. Okay, so maybe I don't want to just let the computer auto-generate. Maybe I want to have some control over what kind of activities my students can do. One of the first things I can do is create a user-defined gap fill where I decide what words they do, what words they see when they do the gap fill exercises. So you can click here. And then all you do is click on the word. So for example, maybe I want them to work on the verbs. So I'm going to highlight all the verbs. I'm just going to click on each word. You could pick any ones you wanted, but I'm going to pick these. So you get the idea. It has all the gaps in there. And that's all you have to do. You don't even have to hit save. You can just close it. Now you'll notice that there are all these little hashtags before all the words that are going to be in the gap fill. Now you're good to go. You may notice right here our shared thing has gone away. That's because we need to save the changes we made. So I'm going to click again on upload and notice it says save changes made to this resource. There you go. I'm going to save changes. And now I have my share icon back. So now when my students click on their activity that they're going to work on, when I go to Textivate and I share this with my students with this code, when they do the gap fill, it's going to be the gap fill that I chose. They're going to be filling in the words that I chose for that. Okay, so that's one way. Now we're going to go back. Another way to customize is to set up a sequence. So you're going to click right here on the sequence tab. And it says create an activity sequence based on this resource. So all you do is click on this. And then this gives you the list of options that came up that your students see. So maybe I want them to do one tile activity. And then I want them to do a 1 and 4 where they put their things in order. And then next I'm going to have them do a gap fill because I made my user-defined gap fill. So I'm not going to do the random one. I'm going to pick user-defined because I want them to do the ones that I said. And then over here you can set your target. So let's say I want them, they have to get 100%, I want to say, to go on. Or 90 or 80. You could set it wherever you want. So I'm going to set mine at 90. So they have to get at least 90% accuracy to be able to go on to the next activity. Notice again, my share option has gone away. So now I have my sequence. Again, we just noticed before we clicked here to save, we can also just save right here with this save icon. Save changes. Great. Save changes. Okay. Now all my saved changes are saved. So now when I share the link with my students, I'm going to click right here. I'm going to click, I can share from this page now. I'm going to click here. And then instead of saying link to index page, because I don't want them to see this, I'm going to link to sequence. So that means the first activity in the sequence is what they'll see when they log in. Now, I could just give them this. Give them this link. They could, and when they go to Textivate, they could log in and just put the link in, and then they would start with the sequence. Or I could share it with my class this way. And then I can choose which sections I want to share that sequence with. And then once that's shared with them, you can go in and see their progress to see how much of the sequence they've completed. Okay, this video was kind of long, but I hope that it gave you some ideas about how to use Textivate. Please email me if you have any questions or if this is unclear. There are other features I know of Textivate as well. These are the ones I've used so far. But definitely let me know if you have questions or if there are other things that came up along the way or things that didn't work when you tried this process. Thanks.